I'm your guest host, Lakeshia Myers, sitting in for Michelle Bryant, who is still in Washington, D.C. Jermaine, I got a message for you. She says she found
it?
the place. So we'll see what happens when she comes back.
Put a message in the bottle.
Put a message in a sin for
That's it.
me.
That's it.
Carvey P., how are you this morning?
Hey, I am doing fine.
That was a long pause. I am doing fine. Okay.
Doing.
Yeah, like you had to convince yourself.
Because I was trying to find a word better than fine, but hey.
Right, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I mean, that works. It works for what we need it to work for. So I'm happy that you're feeling fine today. Today is Thursday, January 16th, 2025. It is not as cold as it was yesterday. But you still need to bundle up because, of course, we're transitioning from the night air to where we are right now. So right now it is, let's see, 27 degrees in Milwaukee. Feels like 15, they say. Sunrise at 7:20. So today the high is supposed to be 36 degrees. 36 degrees is the high today. So still cold, but not like it was yesterday when it was 5. So so we're making progress, and then it will get colder. By Sunday it's supposed to be 6 degrees. So enjoy this weekend, looks like, because today the high is 36. Tomorrow the high will be 41, and Saturday it'll be 31 and sunny. And then on come Sunday, early Sunday morning, it will be -4 and the high will be 6. So
well, listen, for all y'all that want to get out here in your shorts and tank tops,
today and tomorrow is your day.
Put away the earmuffs and snowsuits,
and then you put your Daisy Dukes on
for
tomorrow, today and tomorrow. That's pretty much it.
Because boy,
yeah, the blistering
Shiver Me Timbers is on its way.
Shiver Me Timbers is on its way.
I'm telling you.
Today in history, in 1919, the 18th Amendment to the United States Constitution prohibiting, quote, the manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors for beverage purposes was ratified by the requisite number of states on January 16th, 1919. This, of course, the 18th Amendment banned alcohol in the United States. The movement for the prohibition of alcohol began in the early 19th century when Americans concerned about the adverse effects of drinking began forming temperance societies. By the late 19th century, these groups had become a powerful political force, campaigning on the state level and calling for total national abstinence of alcohol. In December 1917, the 18th Amendment, also known as the Prohibition Amendment, was passed by Congress and sent to states for ratification. And in 1919, that ratification was complete, and the United States banned the sale of alcohol, which, of course, kind of didn't work. It led to speakeasies and other things because you can find a way in the United States. Of course, that did not last long. It was repealed later by the 21st Amendment, which I guess you would say re-legalized alcohol in the United States. But today in history, in 1919, the 18th Amendment was passed. In 1970, Muammar Gaddafi, the young Libyan army captain who deposed King Idris in September of 1969, was proclaimed premier of Libya by the so-called General People's Congress. Born in a tent in the Libyan desert, Gaddafi was the son of a Bedouin farmer. He attended university at the Libyan Military Academy and steadily rose in the ranks of the Libyan army. An ardent Arab nationalist, he plotted with a group of fellow officers to overthrow the Libyan monarchy, which they accomplished on September 1, 1969. Blending Islamic orthodoxy, revolutionary socialism, and Arab nationalism, Gaddafi established a fervently anti-Western dictatorship. In 1970, he removed U.S. and British military bases and expelled Italian and Jewish Libyans. In 1973, he nationalized foreign-owned oil fields. He reinstated traditional Islamic laws such as prohibition of alcoholic beverages and gambling, but liberated women and launched social programs that improved the standard of living in Libya. As part of his stated ambition to unite the Arab world, he and the African world, I will admit that as well. He sought closer relations with his northern African and Arab neighbors, especially Egypt. However, when Egypt and then other Arab nations began a peace process with Israel, Libya was increasingly isolated. If you remember correctly, Muammar Gaddafi was instrumental in the One Africa movement. He wanted to essentially create one African currency to strengthen Africa in the world market. And Muammar Gaddafi was assassinated later on. I want to say in the 2000s at some point in time. I can't remember which year, but Muammar Gaddafi came to power in Libya on this day in 1970. What? Another one of our leaders, yes. Because you want to say, Gaddafi was instrumental. He was a close ally of South Africa during the when they were in apartheid and post-apartheid. He was one of the people that helped Mandela, basically get around in the world after apartheid was over. So yeah, so of course with everybody you have good and bad about what they do, but I think a lot of times Gaddafi gets overlooked, and he was painted on the world stage as a dictator. But if you look further into his history, there was some good policies that he, that other people have adopted. Absolutely. So, but this is the day that he came into power in 1970. So interesting.
Since we doing history moments,
Mm-hmm.
I figured I'd get a church announcement.
Oh my God. Okay.
History
Mm-hmm.
for the Church
Mm-hmm.
of God in Christ.
History for the Church of God in Christ. Okay.
Amen. No, I'm just playing.
You know what? I'm like, oh, what happened? Did I miss something?
Nah, but this day in history, Leroy Jenkins.
You know what?
First brother to walk in McDonald's and say, "Give me a cheeseburger. I'll pay you on Friday."
I would gladly pay you on Friday for a cheeseburger today.
This year in history.
Only you with the tomfoolery.
Oh my God.
And of course, last but not least, today in 1920, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, an international collegiate sorority that is historically African American, was founded on this day. In 1920, 5 women from Howard University envisioned a sorority that would raise the consciousness of their people, encourage the highest standards of scholastic achievement, and foster a greater sense of unity among its members. They believed that sorority elitism and socializing overshadowed the real mission of progressive organizations. Since its founding, Zeta Phi Beta has historically focused on addressing social causes. Famous members of Zeta Phi Beta include Cheryl Underwood, who has been their national president, I want to say twice, Zora Neale Hurston, Dionne Warwick, Anita Hill, and Milwaukee's own Bessie Gross, Stanthea Greer, and Jennifer Beckwith Wright. So happy Founders Day to the ladies of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated.
Awesome.
Oh, you ain't got nothing to say? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're just checking because I thought you was about to be,
I mean, I was going to jump all over
the
Happy Gang Day.
You know what?
But, okay. I mean.
When we have Larry Hoover Day.
Can we have one? No, actually.
Tookie Williams Day.
Tookie Williams Day. Oh, man.
Raymond Washington, who went to Washington High School.
Oh, man. Yeah, man. Nah, man. I think that, man, it's a great time in history, for all of those organizations. So,
yes.
Congratulations on your historical moment.
And continue doing the work, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Service to all people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Making sure we make an impact in the world.
I see, not to change the subject, but I see that the people jumped on your heels so hard.
They did. I put my mask back on. I didn't want the smoke.
Oh.
They told me, number one, Keith was lying. That was one person text me and said, Keith is lying. We could hear you. So put the mask back on.
Yeah, they jumped on your
Then other people online with you was like, Keith is trying to kill you. Put your mask back on. So I'm just going to say people told me not to listen to Keith and to just continue doing what I was doing. So if you cannot hear me, text Carvey or Jermaine or put a message on YouTube, and we'll
even
try
in
to
the
speak
box.
louder
Yeah.
through the microphone. But I was told that I could be heard effectively,
Or
and that Keith just couldn't hear.
Or if you can't hear at home in the comfort of your house, you can come stand outside the station and listen.
Hey, that works too.
Or even knock on the door and be like, "We can't hear you. And go back home."
You go back home, and we'll try to fix it.
And we'll fix it.
We'll fix it for you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We'll
I
figure
mean,
it out.
So I just wanted to, let people know I'm okay. I'm not trying to let, people was like, Keith is trying to kill you. You need to put that mask back on, because people are concerned about my health, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, they was jumping on your heels.
Yeah, they were like, where is her mask? So
yeah, they
it's good to be thought about, though. I'm gonna say that.
But it's just me and my opinions. I just think even with the mask, if you can smell chicken through the mask, anything
Shut
can get
up,
through.
Jermaine.
I'm just saying. I mean, Carvey, am I tripping?
I mean,
if you can smell something through the mask, that means that whatever that scent is getting through the mask.
yeah.
So if that smell of chicken
But if
can get
it
through
has
the
to be
mask, then the
so
virus can
overpowering,
get
because
through.
usually, honestly, I can't smell a lot of stuff sometimes with a mask on.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I smell everything. Gasoline, chicken, grease.
But see, those are highly potent, overpowering smells. Like at a gas station, you probably, yeah.
So I mean, but when you think if a virus is in the air, since it's airborne, it would push its way through?
Mm-mm.
No. Oh. I don't know.
Because one is an olfactory sense. That's the smell part. But the other piece is you actually trying to penetrate something that, and then you also have your nose, which that's why people have nose hair. So it's to prevent certain things from coming. So your body has built-in blockers to try to do that. But then you have another barrier on you.
But if it's airborne, it's going to be on your skin. It's going to be on.
But that's why hand washing and washing your body effectively is a big piece of that. So people need to take baths.
Yeah, they need to wash their neck. Yeah. They ain't finished yet.
Your whole anyway. Your whole body to make sure, so not just your neck, Jermaine. I mean, that's an important piece that sometimes I guess people ignore.
You gotta wash your neck.
Yes, you should wash your neck.
Oh, okay.
But they're like your face, where there are openings on your face. I'm not going there with you.
You ought to wash your neck.
Oh my God.
Because you ain't finished yet until what? You wash your neck. Amen.
Okay.
This moment in history.
PSA, please wash your neck. Y'all have no sense whatsoever. Every day.
Foolishness. Yes. Just imagine what Shell go through. She gotta deal with me every day.
I know.
Early too.
Yes. It's no longer reserved for afternoon.
No, it's early morning foolishness
for her. That's why she had to take a reprieve.
Yeah, man, I ran her away to go get the grease and donuts.
Yeah, you ran her away.
Yeah,
because she was like, you know what, Jermaine is ridiculous.
She was like, I need a break from this dude. This dude is.
You should work on that. You should work on that.
I did work on it, and I got worse. Yeah.
Well, we need to call Pastor Valerie Daniels.
Amen. She ain't gonna do nothing but put me off the organ again.
No, she gonna lay hands, because it's gonna take a bunch of preachers in Milwaukee. We're gonna have to call them, bring the oil,
living and
you
dead.
Can't do nothing.
Living and dead.
You can't do nothing.
Yeah.
Without the oil. They need to
pour it on the top and let it just run all down.
Yeah, because you need to be saturated.
Yeah, I need that thick oil though. It got to be real thick that I can't breathe when you pour it on, so it can suffocate all the sin up out of me.
Suffocate
the foolishness out of me.
You can join the conversation today at 414-444-5250, 414-444 or 414-444-5253 or 414-444-5250. We're ignoring Jermaine and his tomfoolery this morning. He needs the thickest oil that they have. Just way too much. Way too much.
I do play too much though, but I mean, we gotta call it.
We gotta call it already. Okay,
gotta call it early.
Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Dr. Myers, I love you. I love the gentleman. with you, but he is in the butt next street. And you know what? We can just well. And you know I love you. But anyway, oh my, you know what? We hear you very well. And this young man is right about that. And he said a fart out still smell it.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's
Exactly.
right.
Yes.
But you know what? We must take care of ourselves. So,
Mother,
because I feel,
if you can fix your phone because your phone is going in and out.
oh, okay, baby.
So we want to be able to hear everything you saying because you sound like you got
Okay.
some wisdom.
You know what? That's them can keep me from talking.
The devil is busy.
Girl, the devil is a lie.
I know that's right.
Yes, and thank you too. And thank you for speaking on the doctor.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, peace and blessings. I'm gonna finish listening.
Okay.
Wait,
All
did she just say peace and hair grease?
That's not what she said.
Oh,
That's not what she said, Jermaine.
I was gonna say,
How
hey,
do
we
how do you
gonna go kick it.
hear
We going.
different things
I
in what
don't, cause
you
I'm
know?
a musician. Like I
No,
hear.
no. You got transposing in your
Oh,
ear
that's
because
what it is.
you hear in the wrong thing. That's
Yeah, it
not.
is. I thought she said peace and hair grease.
That's not what she said.
I was gonna say right on, sister, right on. But no, she didn't
That
say that.
that's not what she
No, okay.
said. That's not what she said.
Foolishness.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, moving right along. Remember, you can call and get in on the conversation 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. We are at the point where we need to take a break, so we
Yeah.
will turn the page once we get back. You're listening to Say Something Real. I'm your guest host, Lakeshia Myers.
The passing of a loved one is emotional enough without adding the stress of funeral arrangements. By pre-planning, you receive the desires of your heart while taking away the burden from your family. It also saves you money, providing the dignity and respect your memory deserves. And there are times when life ends unexpectedly. Please know that the New Pitts Mortuary is here to lend a helping, caring hand anytime, day or night. We are the New Pitts.
helping, and the willingness of Americans to save for the future has fallen below that of all other people in the Western world. So when you think about comparing what Biden talked about last night and where we were in 1979, I see a whole lot of parallels between what Carter talked about then and where we are now, because we are living what he talked about. Jimmy Carter was basically giving us the prophecy. And look, I see this down the line, and now President Carter is gone, and look at where we are in a situation where we can either go up in smoke or try to turn this ship around by remaining vigilant, getting involved, and holding people accountable. And that takes paying attention. Quite frankly, that takes paying attention. Tell me what you think about that, what you thought about the president's speech. You can call us at 414-444-5250 or 414-444-5253. But I just want to make sure that we heard the parallels and what the president was talking about. You cannot talk about a more successful presidency than Joe Biden, I think. At this point, when you think about all of the things that have happened on his watch, he and Kamala Harris together, whether it's student loan, reform, where you talk about, changes in the federal Food and Drug Administration. We just talked about red dye number 3 in the studio being banned from the United States. So making changes that would exist for a better country. So all of these things, I'm looking at what the proposals are that are coming as of January 20th, and to see where we end up 4 years from now, which will be interesting to me. Looks like we got some callers on the line. Good morning, callers. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Dr. Myers, thank you for taking my call, Carrie, Jermaine. My thing is this. The speech was excellent. Biden was an excellent president, and he should go down in history as such. But look at where we are. There are so many people that do not vote. There are religious groups that do not vote. And, okay, we can't count on them. But what was that Senate hearing for the people that are going into office was scary to me. You have 53 people that are really puppets for the president.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's sad to me. It's like they're voting not for the good of the country, but for the party. And what does that mean? The party.
Mm-hmm.
Who gets paid for the party? But the affluent and the ones that are self-serving to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
We are lost. Like when I suggest to people, let's work together, and you get jumped all over.
Mm-hmm.
Why? They're not helping us. We're only 13% of the population. What do you think we're going to do? If we don't learn to work together, and if we don't teach our children to be open-minded, knowing that they have a place, not to run scared, but to stand for what they believe in. No, you won't be invited to all the parties, and you don't want to. Look at it. Look at when you go to the party, what you get blemished with. I mean, and look at what we're doing as people. So how do we start? We hear all these problems. We talk about these things, but now we need a solution. Some people need steps to take, and that first step is in your own home. Stop demeaning your children. Stop putting them down, saying they're not nothing because you hate the father, or the father hates the mother. You're a combination of both of those people. And you want your daughter to be as successful as your son. And anger, when you're so angry, don't respond to that first anger, because it's going to get you in trouble. What do? We need solutions. People are waiting for answers, and we keep talking around the bush. So what are the first steps that we need to take? Because we're going to be in trouble. And the more we talk to people, we're so scattered. We as African Americans do not trust each other. And it's the same thing in that other race as well as ours. It's in every race. But when it comes time to pull together to make a big difference, they some kind of way work it out. And we need to start learning how to do that. It's too many people want to be chief and not enough Indians. Thank you for listening to me.
All right. Thank you for your call. We have to take a break. So the caller, I see you waiting. We'll come to you immediately and we can come back. You're listening to Say Something Real. I'm your guest host, Lakeshia Myers. Welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to Say Something Real. We had some callers that held over through the break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dr. Myers. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. Excellent show as usual. I am going to miss President Biden. I watched the speech last night and I listened again today when you played it. My question is, why didn't he do something about the Electoral College or the Supreme Court terms or the Voting Rights Act when he had the opportunity to do so, or AI? Now he's given us a map of what can possibly hurt us in the upcoming 4 to 5 years. But you have to think back, and again, I know he's not God, he can't do everything. But he knew about that electoral college going into it. I remember sitting back, it was during the pandemic, and we were watching that virtual, was it the convention, and all the scary things that could possibly happen. So he knew about what we were facing. Is it just that he couldn't do everything, or is it that he just didn't want to? I guess that's my question.
So to answer your question in the simplest way is because that's not the power of the president. So the president does not create legislation. I mean, they can suggest it, but it takes Congress to actually change the Constitution. And if you think about our Constitution, has only been amended 27, I'm going to say 27 times. So we 27, between 27 and 29 times, whatever the last amendment was to the Constitution. So we've only, and that's in about 200 and some odd years, we've only amended the United States Constitution that many times.
But I look at it as, okay, Hakeem Jeffries about the Voting Rights Act, the John Lewis bill, the Electoral College, the Supreme Court terms. You're saying that he was talking to Congress last night and not the American people?
No, he was talking to the American people. He was talking to everybody. But again, what you're talking about would take congressional action. And who's in charge in Congress?
Hakeem Jeffries?
No, Hakeem Jeffries is not in control in Congress. The Republicans have control of Congress.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, you're talking about Mike Johnson and that team.
Yes. So all of those
when Biden was, and sorry about the civics lesson, but when Biden was in office, we didn't have the majority with Nancy Pelosi and then Hakeem Jeffries.
No, they were. They're the minority leader.
They are now, but when his term, weren't they in charge?
Let me go back.
I thought it was Pelosi there, and then she stepped down when her husband got beat up with the hammer.
Yeah.
Pelosi was in control. Let me see when the last time Democrats had control.
2020?
I don't remember. Democrats.
Because it's so much. You got the Voting Rights Act. You got, he's not going to take care of California. We're about to be destroyed. And I'm looking at it as if we were in charge, at least with Nancy Pelosi and Biden, why couldn't some of those bills be introduced?
So let's see. With Harris serving as a tiebreaker in her constitutional role as president of the Senate, Democrats gained control of the Senate and they were full control of Congress for the first time since the 111th Congress in 2011. So what year was this? That was...
And I'll end it with, when is the next time we vote? Is it April 2026 for Congress?
For Congress, it is 2026. That'd be November of 2026 is the next time congressional races are happening. Yes.
So we have to wait until November 2026 to try to have Jeffries be the leader.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, so 2025.
Yes. So
okay.
2025. So.
Oh Lord. Okay, excellent job, Dr. Myers. We can hear you fine. And hi, Streetcar.
Hey, I'm getting about zoom on,
All right, let me see. So in 2021, the Senate majority was Republican. Democrats had the tie-breaking VP vote. So that was when Kamala Harris, as the vice president, got it. Senate president, Kamala Harris from January 21st, 2021. And then the House majority, the House Speaker was Nancy Pelosi in 2022. Was that 2022? Okay, I'm figuring this out because they in odd cycles. So I'm reading this as I'm trying to make sure that I get this correct. But we have another caller that's on the air. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dr. Myers. And the other gentleman, I'm sorry, I have to, I don't remember your name. But Dr. Myers, I would like to ask you. Oh, sorry.
Just remember Jermaine Jackson. He wanted the Jackson 5.
Got jokes. Huh?
I'm just saying, he was named after Jermaine Jackson.
Okay. Am I playing in too much to what's going on right in front of our faces with all of Donald Trump's cabinet picks. That do we really believe that he's not going to go after his political opponent? With Pam Bondi, I guess is she going for Attorney General? They sit there and say what you want to hear, but do we really believe that that's not going to happen?
I mean, to be honest with you, and this is just my opinion.
Okay.
Trump's been lying since.
Thank you.
Since day one, yeah.
Since day one, man. So Trump said he didn't do it, and we got video and proof that he did it, but he swore up and down he didn't do it, and it's a hoax, and man, that the election was stolen and all this other trash that he said. So I just believe that Trump is just a liar, man.
Right, I do too. Just the reason why I say this is this stuff is playing out right before our faces. Because look at you got Musk, who control a lot of the social media now. So if you think that there was false information going out there now, because then they Zuckerberg eliminated fact checkers as far as people putting stuff out there, and you got a lot of members in the Republican Party who are a bunch of simps. They would not say one word about Donald Trump because they'll be afraid of being primary. They're not going to go against him. So he's, they're like everyone is afraid of him. Like even some of our media outlets, they seem like they're afraid of Donald Trump as well. And that's what the fear that I have, because it's like he's setting himself up just like Putin and the Korean North Korea leader. They will not speak out against the leaders of that country because Putin will have you assassinated or killed, and Kim Jong-un would do the same thing. So I just think that we're in a lot of trouble, and maybe my fear is unwarranted, but I just think that things are. I mean, we have to wait and see, but I kind of got a feeling that he's going to go after his political opponents and the immigrants or the people from other that they say illegal immigrants. It's just going to be a big mess. So that's just my.
No, he don't care if they're illegal or not.
Right. That's the point. Right. First it was people that were criminals, and now it's going to be whomever. So I just want to voice my concern on that, and I appreciate you taking my call.
Absolutely. Thank you for calling. We appreciate you. To go back just for a minute, I wanted to make sure I had, because my sessions of Congress get mixed up in my head, because in 2 years things change. So this was in 2021, January 2021, effectively. So there was a 50-50 split in the U.S. Senate. That is when John Ossoff, Raphael Warnock, and Alex Padilla of California were sworn into the Senate. That resulted in 50 seats being held by Republicans and 48 seats being held by Democrats and 2 held by independents that caucus with Democrats, effectively creating a 50-50 split in the Senate, which had not occurred since the 107th Congress in 2001. So this was only the third time in U.S. history that the Senate had been evenly split. Because Kamala Harris came in 2021 as the vice president, she was the tie-breaking vote in the U.S. Senate. So that effectively gave Democrats control of the Senate in 2021. So therefore, they had full control of the Senate for the first time since 2011. From January 20th, 2021 until, the session was over in January 3rd, 2023. So in effect, because of the midterm elections of 2022, they did not have control after 2022. And despite Democrats holding the majorities of both chambers during a period of intense political polarization, the 117th Congress oversaw the passage of numerous significant bills, including the Inflation Reduction Act, the American Rescue Plan Act, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, Postal Service Reform Act, Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, CHIPS, and the Science Act, and honoring our PACT Act, and Electoral Count Reform and Presidential Transition Improvement Act, and Respect for Marriage Act. So those were the major pieces of legislation that came out of that particular Congress. So yes, in those 2 years, that is what was accomplished, which started to chip away at some of those things. But then when you lose in the midterm election, you become that's when Hakeem Jeffries came in. So he now was the minority leader. So they lost control in that particular instance right there. So that's what I wanted to make sure. And that was again in 2021. So we were still dealing with COVID. So you still had to deal with Rescue Plan Act, COVID relief, all the things that were going on at that particular time. So it was mostly like COVID based legislation that was happening at that particular point in time. So I just wanted to go back and make sure that I remembered that correctly and gave it out correctly.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like the last caller said, it's really scary because
Well, you got the Prince of Petty is on his way.
yeah,
So, yeah.
and he don't care. You know, there was a song that came out back in the day that the lyrics are the keys to life is money, power, and respect.
Mm-hmm.
And we are seeing that right now because if you have the money, if you
You can
have the
buy power.
power,
Yeah.
you gonna most definitely get the respect because you can strong arm it
Mm-hmm.
because you got the money and the power.
Mm-hmm.
So with the money and the power comes the respect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're looking at. So he's creating, you know, positions for people that has never worked in government a day of their life.
Right.
But here you come, you just creating all type of chaos. But the people you putting in position are people that has money and power.
Mm-hmm.
And you add these people to your team with one agenda, and
Mhm.
that's to have the people to fall subject under what you're trying to do,
Mm-hmm.
which in turn it kind of sounds like a dictatorship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The only piece that combats that is the fact that we have some guardrails, you know, some separation of powers that exist that you can't just go full Monty all at one time.
But don't they want to get rid of the Constitution? So wasn't he talking about doing something to the Constitution?
I don't know. What did he say?
Well, give me
Today.
a minute. Well, right,
Today. I don't know what.
So I'm
today.
I'm actually looking at. Oh, I don't have my
See what's going on. But
yeah, you know, I know, man, that I've seen on the news that you know there was some concerns about them dibbling and dabbling with the Constitution and
mhm.
all that other stuff, man. That um, I don't know, man. It's that when you have a guy that talked about Biden's age, but he's no
Spring chicken.
yeah,
He's
it's
same
like
age or just about the same age.
man, I think like what 4 years younger, or
Yeah,
something
like that.
And you know, he want to be president for life and all this other trash, man, that he's trying to implement is just it's crazy to me because I can't believe he really had people following. Like he really got
Oh, you know the Bible talk about beware of false prophets. People follow folks all the time.
all the time.
The Pied Piper followed them right down to the lake.
Yeah. And it's almost like
And that's what it is with the Pied Piper. You can follow him right on down to the river.
and yeah, it's almost like that one sheep that's leading everybody. He running towards the cliff. He jump off, and all the sheep behind him just jump.
Mm-hmm.
But it's too late. Though once your feet leave the ground and you in the air, it's too late then.
And I think people are seeing droplets of that when you talk about like a lot of folks in the Hispanic community that he talked about immigrants, but that's not me.
Surprise.
You know his immigration czar just said, well, you know, it doesn't matter if the wife is considered legal but the husband is not. If everybody can go together,
you out of there,
right?
And some of these people are some of these people are the people that had voted for this guy.
Yeah.
Thinking, hey, Trump
People
is
who
going to
vote
make
against
it better.
their own interests most of the time.
Yeah, Trump is going to make it so much better for us, and that we need to gain control. But it's like we looking at you like you
Right.
do know that you are part of that when you listen to a commercial and they don't want you to hear certain parts, so they get to going real fast.
Yeah.
And then
The side effects
the
are
side effects are
death.
lose a toe, your heart gonna fall out. So it's all of that, and they don't understand, man, that they are included in that fast talk.
Yeah, it's amazing when you. I mean, people vote against their own interests a whole lot of the times, or they refuse to participate. I think both are detrimental, but especially when you clearly don't understand the landscape and you vote against your own interests, because you're holding on, especially for instance, people who talk about welfare reform or whatever else. The states that get the most welfare reform, most of them are southern states. Most of the people who are on welfare are white folks, overwhelmingly. So then you want to change welfare law and all of these things, but then you're the greatest recipients of that particular service. So but when you have the face of welfare is painted as
blacks,
exactly. So we play on your psyche, on your racism, that these black people getting X, Y, and Z, and they're getting more than me, or getting something they don't deserve, or all of these things. Yet you go out to some of these Mormon communities that have 3, 4, 12 wives, living out on these compounds. Everybody getting a food stamp card. Everybody getting the Medicaid, all of it. So we don't talk about that particular aspect of it, but when you paint the picture of a welfare queen, it's some black lady living in projects.
Right. And I just don't understand how this guy Elon is talking about he's gonna strip
I
500
think that
million.
will be, and you maybe I'm wrong. I believe we will see, because Trump lives like a soap opera, and I believe he and Elon are gonna fall out, because even with people calling Elon President Musk, with him, Trump, his ego can't take that. And I think there's going to be some butting of heads. You saw a bit of that when the deal fell apart with them, in the beginning, with trying to keep the government open. I think that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah, because I think Trump was against what they
Yeah, he didn't even know what was going on. Elon kind of stepped out there and was, big boying members of Congress. The deal broke down, but then understanding the landscape of Congress right now, Mike Johnson can't do anything without Democratic support.
Right.
Because he doesn't have the numbers.
Right.
So if Democrats aren't on board, at least in part, to get numbers across, you won't get anything passed.
Yeah.
And the worst thing you can do as a speaker is not get anything passed, because you won't be able to raise money. You won't be able to remain the speaker. All of these things come into play. And especially if you have defectors among your own group. And he's not popular. So that's the other piece of that. So, I mean, it is just an amazing place that we're in. I don't know what this chapter is going to be called.
Yeah.
The nadir of America.
Yeah. It's kind of
the
scary.
lowest period of America 2.0. I don't know. People thought the nadir of America was the Civil War, but I think this might take the cake. So we shall see.
Yeah. Especially when this guy, Elon, one of the richest guys in the world.
Isn't he trying to clear out Mars? Why don't he go up there and see what's happening?
Yeah, he talking about he want to make it.
He should go first.
But he was talking about dropping to heat up Mars. He was talking about dropping the nuclear.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, I'll let him go do that and see what happens.
I'd rather see it on TV.
I'm gonna watch it on TV too. I don't know.
I'm not going to tell the testimony.
Yeah,
might as well be me.
Somebody got to live to tell the story.
I remember when.
We have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes. Good morning,
my
Dr.
man,
JT.
Lakeshia Myers. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. And Brother Jermaine, how you doing, sir?
Hey, man, it's always good to hear from you, J Tizzle, because you tell it like it is.
And Carl AP. Good morning, young man.
Yo. Good morning, JT.
Tizzle.
Hey, Lakeshia,
Yes, sir.
when you're talking earlier about who have control of the Congress or the Senate,
Mm-hmm.
and the time that the Democrats had control for a
Mm-hmm.
little bit,
Yes.
don't forget now that even then they don't truly have control because there's always going to be two or three Democrats
True.
that we call
And that
blue
was back with
dog
Joe
Democrats.
Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. You're right. That was
Thank you,
that
thank
was
you.
Sinema
Hmm.
and Manchin in on full display. You're right.
Right, right. So yeah, when I say, I be thinking, well, all they are just Republicans, you know,
In Democrat clothes.
disguising themselves as Democrats just to mess up the party.
Right. Right.
That's what I feel. But I just want to mention that because yeah, they have those so-called blue dogs, Democrats. You have to watch out for it too.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to share that with you quickly. And everybody have a good morning.
All right. You as well. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I mean, the country is in trouble.
There is a word that they say what it is. There was a word that goes there that we can't say over there, but yes, I agree. But yes. Okay, how did I lose my little service right quick? But that goes into something that I wanted to bring up if I can get my internet service back. I don't know what happened.
Well, why are you doing that? Though you got a caller.
I got a caller. Okay, let's take the caller. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hello. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
Let's not forget about the state Supreme Court race. That's a very
Absolutely.
important race.
Yes, it's coming.
We dropped the ball on the federal level. Let's not forget about this. We don't need Brad Schimmel in there.
We do not.
Have a good day.
All right. And he is absolutely correct. When you talk about races that are coming up, we cannot ignore spring races in Wisconsin. Historically, races that happen in February and April are oftentimes ignored by major groups because they are nonpartisan races. A lot of times, these are school board races, they are judicial races, there are and these are we have a big Supreme Court race coming in April, though we only have two candidates that have declared for that race. That is Susan Crawford and Brad Schimmel, who was the former attorney general under Scott Walker. So we need to make sure that people are activated to vote in the spring elections as well. So if you don't know your voter registration status, you've moved, do all you can to go to myvote.wi.gov to figure that piece out and make sure that you have your voter registration in order, because February 18th will be here before you know it. We are just about a month out. It's January 16th. February 18th will be here sooner than you know. And folks need to make sure that they are voting in these elections, and also understand that if you live in a municipality outside of the city of Milwaukee, you village presidents, if you live in Brown Deer, if you live in Glendale, if you live in any other municipality in the county, you still have races that are happening as well in your particular area. So school board races that often get ignored, and sometimes people go to run for school board and they run unopposed. But then when something happens and people are upset, then they go and scream at the school board. But then you let JoJo run for school board unopposed, and you don't know what their background was, or if they have the capacity to even sit on a school board. So these are things that we need to pay attention to as well. So all of those things. I think we talked about the fact that there were like only 3 or 4 people that were running for MPS school board um, in these races, and there were not a lot of people that had registered to run. In some areas, they were running unopposed, and maybe I think there's only one contested race for MPS's school board. So yeah, these are things that we need to pay attention to and look at. We got a caller. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, I'm just calling because I feel like Trump done sold the United States to Putin, and I'm waiting to see the ship fall because it's all gonna crumble. He got all these crooks in his cabinet, and it ain't gonna work because he's a not he just ain't right. Every time he open his mouth, he lying.
Mm.
He's lying. So thank you very much, and I'm happy for you, Miss Myers.
Thank
with
you.
your transplant.
Yes, ma'am. I
And you
appreciate it.
all have a blessed day.
You
Yeah.
as well. Thank you
Thanks.
so much. And I appreciate that and your
Bye.
well wishes as well. Thank you for your call. Um, you know, absolutely. I think you look at the fact that we know pretty much what a Trump presidency looks like from the first time. So what is going to happen should be no surprise to a certain extent. But do I think he will amp it up? Probably, because this is logistically, we guess, we hope, will be his last time running for president. Yes.
I mean, it should be.
It is because of the Constitution, Jermaine, and that has not changed yet.
Yeah, but knowing him and the people that he's trying to surround himself with, some powerful people. When you got some powerful people, though, you can move the needle, you can move the goalpost, and he even
I'm gonna
said,
say I don't think they have the. I mean, and maybe I'm gonna be naive in saying it, but we've seen people try to buy certain things before, and they were unsuccessful because you still live in a country of one man, one vote.
yeah, but when you have zillions of dollars
Uh-huh.
on your team,
Mm-hmm.
it makes the dynamic a little
That much
different.
harder, absolutely.
Yeah,
It makes it
so
much harder.
it's because you can buy whatever
Right.
with money.
You can.
So if
And I think we see that even looking at I'm gonna say microscopic because of lower level right now, looking at independently owned radio stations, not just black ones, but independently owned radio stations in general. And even when you look at a conglomerate like Radio One or something like that, that's black leaning radio, that's black owned, we see that every day, even with looking at, because if you think like when Obama was running for office, you had black radio personalities almost all day long on multiple different stations that were syndicated. So you had folks like Warren Ballantine, you had Michael Baisden at one time, you had Ricky Smiley, Tom Joyner in the morning, all of those people. And what's my man with the suit? Family Feud, Steve Harvey. All of these people at one time, and you slowly start to see syndicated black radio hosts pulled back. And outside of Tom Joyner retiring, this was, you could hear black, authentic black opinion all day, depending on what you tuned into. Now you don't see that as much, and you haven't seen that as much since like 2012, 2016, in those areas. I mean, I just look at that as one example of it. So yeah, money most definitely plays a part in a whole lot of stuff, but you still can get your idea across. It just makes it that much harder. Makes it that much harder. We have to take a break. Jermaine is giving me the break music. So you're listening to Say Something Real. I'm your guest host, Lakeshia Myers. We'll be back after the break.
The Milwaukee Black Excellence.
The passing of a loved one is emotional enough without adding the stress of funeral arrangements. By pre-planning, you receive the desires of your heart while taking away the burden from your family. It also saves you money, providing the dignity and respect your memory deserves. And there are times when life ends unexpectedly. Please know that the New Pitts Mortuary is here to lend a helping, caring hand anytime, day or night. We are the New Pitts Mortuary.
It makes me want to shout, Jermaine. That's my part.
Amen. Well,
it's a whole lot that makes me want to shout. Especially when it comes to the field of education. But you know what, Jermaine, I am reminded of what one of our modern day prophets named Marshall Mathers had to say.
Eminem, aka.
He said, nowadays, everybody want to talk like they got something to say. But nothing comes out when they move their lips. Just a bunch of gibberish.
Yeah.
And they act like they forgot about Dre.
Yeah, well, you know, we most definitely seeing that now because a lot of people opening up their mouth and a lot of gibberish is coming out. Like this clown that's getting ready to take the office.
Yes, but then we have tomfoolery that can be.
All is working together. You got gibberish, tomfoolery,
just foolishness.
Yeah.
What I want to bring up at this moment is I just want to say people need to stop playing politics when it comes to education. There have been recent news articles that talk about the fact that school resource officers have not yet been placed inside Milwaukee Public Schools. Okay. So the governor said he was, quote, frustrated by the lack of cops in Milwaukee schools. And it's been over a year. And in this particular article, it says Governor Tony Evers told reporters at the Wisconsin Capitol he wants the city school district to comply with the law that required 25 school resource officers in school buildings by January of 2024. He said, I'm frustrated, especially that they've been working together with the city on the issue of police in schools, Evers said. That's part of state law, and they have to obey the law. And a person or persons at Milwaukee Public Schools, whoever the respondent was, says, as Milwaukee Public Schools does not employ, hire, or train City of Milwaukee police officers, the district is waiting for the city to provide resources for the program, the school district said in a recent statement. And of course, Milwaukee police said they are continuing with good faith negotiations with the city schools. There have also been reports that the mayor has said he wants to see this particular piece of law be implemented and that should go on. Okay, that's all well and good. Everybody's saying they want the law to be followed. Yet nobody has come to the table with any money to pay for 25 police officers. Show somebody the money. That's all I'm saying. Now, the people who negotiated poorly, might I add, Act 12, that were at the table should figure out how to pay for said 25 officers. Because, Jermaine, if I were to go out and buy, let's say, a Rolls Royce, I went out and went to the dealership or ordered one online and came back in front of the station with a Rolls Royce. I went to your house and parked it in your driveway. And then I said, you know what, Jermaine? This Rolls Royce is for you. And you are now responsible for the car note. Could I do that? No.
Well, if you put it in my name. But no, you can't do that. Nah.
You can't create bills for me.
I mean, though you could, but don't.
Right.
Yeah.
You cannot create bills for me. And that's the thing. The people who were at the table and negotiated this piece of the deal, the legislature.
Yeah.
Robin Voss and company.
Yeah.
Jose Perez was at the table. The mayor was at the table. Marcelia Nicholson was at the table.
If you can find
David Crowley was at the table.
If you can find funding for any and everything else, you can find.
But you negotiated a deal that had this provision. Nobody that I know of, because I was in the legislature at the time, I never heard anybody from MPS was at the negotiating table on this piece. That it was just added to Act 12. I I couldn't tell you a school board member or the superintendent was at the table when they negotiated this.
Wow.
So everybody walked away understanding that there was no fiscal implication. There was no price tag attached to having 25 school resource officers for this. There's no money attached to it. There's no fiscal note attached to it. It's like, oh, it's supposed to be absorbed and assumed by somebody. If the city is already in debt because 60% of its budget goes to policing, if the county is already on a fiscal cliff because they had to pay for pensions in the city too, Act 12 really only did a financial increment for the city and the county to stop the pension backfall. It didn't do anything else. So who's supposed to pay?
That part.
For 25 police officers. Now, the other part of this is, I'm going to go back to what I've said over and over and over again, and have said to members of the Milwaukee Public Schools Board before. If you were thinking or forward thinking at the time Act 12 passed, and the school resource officer piece was in there, you should have gotten yourselves together and sued the state legislature for going over their duty, because you are an elected body. You could have at least put a reprieve in place through the court system.
You could have did something
to figure it out. But no, sitting ducks will do what they do. But you know what? I'm in the role now where I can give free unsolicited advice to all that may listen, whether you want it or not. So here is my idea for the school board, the mayor, others, the governor. Hopefully his folks are listening. Apply for a COPS grant, which is a federal grant. They give them out to different agencies, school districts all the time. Apply for a COPS federal grant, because a COPS federal grant will allow you the opportunity to pay or start your own. Let me get it correct. I want to make sure. The COPS in Schools program provides a maximum federal contribution of up to $125,000 per officer position over a 3-year grant period, with any remaining costs to be paid with local funds. Officers paid with COPS in Schools funding can only be hired on or after the grant award start date. So in order to meet the letter of the law, survey the schools that have the highest number of calls for police intervention. Utilize the grant to take seasoned MPS safety personnel that already are employed by Milwaukee Public Schools, or if you have volunteers from within those ranks, or retired officers that already have that training, to create your own police force within the safety department for the school district to meet the letter of the law. They don't have to be MPD officers per se. So if you created your own school resource officer department, you would still be meeting the letter of the law. And these personnel don't have to be armed, if that was one of the bigger issues that existed when they wanted to end police contracts with MPS back in the day, around 2020. So that's really not that far back in the day, but okay, 4 or 5 years ago.
5 years ago,
So again, what are the folks who did the negotiating coming to the table to say? How are they working together to get the price tag filled? If you can get $125,000 per officer and you need 25 of them, at least for 3 years, you know you would have that.
Yeah.
And with the governor creating the new Office of Violence Prevention and then the already existing Office of School Safety that exists at the state level, petition to the state level to get further grant funding to make sure that you meet this mandate. But if people just sit and wait on somebody else to do it, and nobody takes the initiative to write the doggone grant, even though we pay people in the district to write grants, that's somebody's job. Let's figure that part out. So that's the other thing. So I just want to say that we got people that's holding on the line. Good morning, callers. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dr. Spears.
Good morning.
Do you feel that Dr. King has been fizzled out or dwindled down? I was watching the news today. I don't see any promos about upcoming things or activities we can do on Monday. And before you got off the air, since you guys are not on this afternoon or Friday afternoon, could you list like some programs that you know that is going around in the city And then what, in your opinion, you would encourage us to join? Like the Urban League is better than the NAACP or National Action Network, just for those of us that don't want to sit out while Trump will be in office and we still want to try to make an impact in our city. Thank you and have a great weekend.
Absolutely. Thank you for your call. Yes, there are several Martin Luther King programs. I'm pulling up a list that I had. I know for a fact Jeanette Herrera was here earlier in the week talking about King Fest, which will be on Monday, the 20th. It will be held at the Wisconsin Black Historical Society. I want to say 2620 West Center Street is the address. The vendor showcase happens at from 12 to 1, I believe it is, and then 1 o'clock to 3 p.m. is the program. She always has excellent speakers. This year we'll have Reverend Al Sampson, who actually was ordained by Dr. Martin Luther King, had personal relationship with Dr. Martin Luther King, can give insight, and his topic will be where do we go from here. So that is one program that I do suggest. And I'm just opening this up because I actually looked at this the other day of what Dr. King events are happening. I do know if you're looking for a service project or place to go serve on Martin Luther King Day, you can join the ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha at Repairs of the Breach. That will be happening from noon until 3, if I'm not mistaken. Repairs of the Breach is right across the street from the Marsha Coggs Human Services building on was that 12th and Valete Street. That's where they will be, and also at the Milwaukee Diaper Mission to help in that capacity as well. As far as additional programs that are going on, they actually begin this weekend. Let me see. The Marcus Center has their annual program on Monday as well at 4 p.m. If you've never been, it's a free and open to the public. Free parking as well at the Marcus Center for Performing Arts at 929 North Water Street. And that's where you have the students that do the Dr. King speeches. They are excellent. They will do that there at the Marcus Center. There is the 24th annual King Day Justice Program in March that is happening. Let's see, they're doing a march to the King statue on Martin Luther King Drive. Will conclude, weather permitting, for that event. This is through the King Junior Justice Coalition, their annual King Day Justice program in March. We are not afraid. The program features speeches and musical performances from pianist David Nunnally, singer Dorothy James, and internationally renowned trumpeter Russ Johnson. The event includes a panel discussion. This says on trans rights, immigration rights, political oppression, and Palestinian rights. That is at 1 p.m. With March to the King statue at 2:30, and that's on Monday, and that will be at St. Francis of Assisi Catholic Church, 1937 North Vale Phillips. King Fest, I just mentioned that. There is also the 34th annual Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Prayer Service, and I plan on attending this myself. Guest speaker for the Archdiocese of Milwaukee, their Black Catholic Services event will be Father Fred Alexander. He will speak on King's final book, Where Do We Go From Here? And if you have never heard Reverend Fred Alexander, yes, he's a Catholic, but he sure can preach. So I will say that. So if you want to go to that event, that will be this Saturday, January 18th at 1:30 at St. Francis as well. And for more information about that event, you can call Shanidra Johnson or Sister Callista Robinson. Those you know, Sister Callista over at the Brother Booker Ash Center, the House of Peace, she will be there to get that information. Jermaine?
Yeah, also at the King Center.
Yes, there is a program at the King Center.
It's a program at the King Center. I think that starts at 12.
At 12 o'clock. So at the actual King Center, you can go to that event as well.
Well.
And the VA is having a Martin Luther King Jr. Day observance. The Milwaukee's VA African American Special Emphasis Committee and celebratory program, that is actually today. So that is happening today. They will have light refreshments 11:30 to 12:30 on Thursday, January 16th at Unity Chapel of, wait a minute now, Matusek Auditorium. That's the first floor in the building, 5000 West National Avenue in Unity Chapel there. Is that the VA building? We have a call on the line. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
How you doing, Miss Meyer?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Pretty good. I heard about your procedure, and I'm glad it's successful.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. Now, a person being in politics as long as you've been in politics, you remember Governor Bill Richardson used to be the governor of what was it? Mexico, I believe.
New Mexico. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Did you know that when you guys were talking about Trump, this is Trump's last term, and they can't extend terms and what have you? We have to tread lightly on that, because with some things in politics, if you can elect somebody from Kenya to be the president, all bets are off. Now, I mentioned Governor Bill Richardson because right around the time when Obama was about to get elected, I've got on tape on YouTube of the Governor Bill Richardson being asked a question about Obama, and the governor Bill Richardson said, "Well, Obama's an immigrant, so it shows that this country is open to all persuasions when it comes to POTUS." Did you ever see that clip on YouTube?
No, I haven't seen it.
So I said that to say this: stranger things have happened.
I'm sure stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have happened.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, stranger things have happened, but I think you would have seen some strange things. There were other people who were interested in president but realized they couldn't run for president because they were born elsewhere. So we clearly have a strict clause in the United States about who can be president. You have to be U.S. born. If that was the case, Arnold Schwarzenegger probably would have tried. That's why he went for governor of California, because he thought he was on his way. But I just want to make sure I got all of the Dr. King events. So those are all of the Dr. King events that I am aware of, for Dr. King events that were happening in the city of Milwaukee that were going on. There was a question that you asked about, that the previous caller asked about what organizations to join. All of them, whichever one appeals to you. I'm not going to tell you that the Urban League is better than the NAACP. I'm not going to tell you that the NAACP is better than National Action Network or any other, or Rainbow Push or any other organizations. We need help in all of them, because I'll be honest with you. Nationally, a lot of them have numbers because people may purchase a ticket to go to something and end up getting a membership for a year, but they are members that are on the roll only. You have the Freedom Fund dinner, and it could be 500 people or more down at the Baird Center. They get a free membership to the NAACP, but I'm a member of the NAACP and I go to meetings every month, and there's no more than 10 people sitting in the room, 10 to 15 on a good month. So I will tell you that all of these organizations need help. They need people who are willing to serve on committees and actually understand the processes of what we can do to serve in the community. So if you are not a member of any of these organizations, think about getting a membership to them. Think about actually serving in that role. And yes, there's enough work to go around, but the workers are few, but the complaints are many. So I'll say that, workers are few, but complaints are many. There's a way in which we can all serve, and it doesn't have to be, every little bit helps. If you got 2 hours, to serve on a committee in a group, join National Action Network, join the NAACP, come to the meetings, actually see what goes on, because you will find out that there's enough work to go around. We need more people to help. We need younger people, quite frankly, in a lot of these organizations, because the people who actually come to the meetings are retired people. So people who work and are still in industry and are working every day, we don't get the opportunity to hear from those folks. You're hearing from people who may have worked in the industry 30, 40 years ago, and things have changed since then. So making sure that you are effective in what you're doing. So I would encourage even young people. My nephews joined the NAACP when they were here over the summer, and they participate in the youth and college programming. So making sure that you actually get folks who want to serve in these positions. So yes, I would tell you, pick an organization, any organization. They all need your help. Am I out? You out of here? That's it? Okay, did we have a call that was hanging on? That's Mr. Frazier. Mr. Frazier's waiting on his time. Well, I do appreciate all of you. Have been sitting in for Michelle this week. She will be back on Monday. It has been my pleasure serving as your guest host. Jermaine.
Bring me my grease and
Oh
sugar.
my goodness.
Woman.
I will tell Michelle, make sure she bring
My
you
grease
a donut.
and sugar, woman.
We'll make sure you get it. Harvey, thank you. Thank you, Jermaine. In Milwaukee, it has been a pleasure. I've been your guest host for this week, Lakeshia Myers on Say Something Real.
It is now time to take you live to the